It's
All right,
April
here.
30th, not May 1st.
In case you were missing what was happening, everybody, because you
Oh,
couldn't
it is.
hear us,
Oh, it is April
John was
30th.
fucking up the intro to the show again.
Well, you know what?
Classic
Or as I like to call it, another Thursday night at 9 p.m. So I'm not doing all that again. All I'll say is I did get the date wrong. It's not May 1st. It's April 30th. But holy shit! Also, it's fucking May already tomorrow. Like what the?
God,
What the
Yeah.
is
Like-
it at least Friday tomorrow?
Yes.
God, thank fuck. Every day this week was Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday simultaneously.
It was like
How come March felt like 3 years and April is just felt like
April
less than
was
a
only
week?
1 year.
I said to my wife
Yeah.
over dinner. Yeah, it felt like March crawled, and then it's like April just, it's gone. And I got paycheck came through today, guys. Paycheck came
Fuck
through.
yeah, paycheck. Get that money.
yeah. I
Is Reb okay?
didn't even
It's been a
realize.
very long work day, and it's shaping up to be an even longer one. So you know,
I'm sorry, Reb.
as one does.
Well, hopefully we can brighten your night for for an hour
All
and a
in the name
half.
of good
So
journalism.
but yeah, no, I wasn't even aware it was the end of April until literally just now. That's how aware I am of the fucking time right now.
Yeah, I've been looking. I can't remember what it was, but like, so I write articles, and sometimes I will have to reference something that has happened before and be like, oh, last week X said this, or last month this thing happened. And I think I looked at something from like April 7th. Or like some single digit early date in April today, and I was typing it up, and I was like, just last week, and then I was like, wait, hold on, April 7th wasn't last week. What?
Yeah, it was. It's. I think everybody's conception of time is just
Gone.
completely gone. Yeah, like I have none right now.
My sleep
And-
schedule is a mess.
Oh, dude, I'm not sleeping for shit. Like, just not for because I'm anxious and everything is all fucked up. And man, like I just
Man.
kind of blowing my mind that it's the end of April right now.
So, I just really quick before we get into what we've been playing, for people who are listening at home, John, can you throw us through here who is actually here on the podcast tonight?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
So here I am. It's me. It's John. Zach is running the podcast tonight. Hello, Zach.
Hi, everybody. It's
For everybody
Hi,
listening
Zach.
to this on iTunes or SoundCloud, Zach was just waving,
I was,
and now
just
he's scratching his beard
is
in
good
a
radio,
pensive
John.
I
manner.
want you to
It's
spend the next hour and a half describing everything that Zach
God.
does, please.
absolutely right now he's leaning on two fingers and shaking his head and looking. That's a forlorn look. He's looking forlornly off.
Reb-
This is gonna be the same exact narration for the
Reb-
next
For-
hour and
it's
a half
literally-
now.
He's just Zach being Zach, and Reb is here. Hello, Reb.
Thank you.
Hi.
And Justin is here. Justin,
Hello.
hello. And Jeff is here, but we can't see him because he doesn't have his camera on.
That's okay. Don't shame Jeff.
But it's
I am
fine.
alive. That's all you need to know.
That's all.
It's fine. That's all I can ask for.
Given the current circumstances, I'm content with that news. That seems good.
Yeah, me too.
Speaking
Sorry, that
of,
got dark. I'm tired.
No,
No,
it's
well-
okay.
I'll shape up.
everything is dark and tired right now, right? Like every it's just that's just life right now, unfortunately. But for the next hour and a half, everybody can put that aside and just talk with us about video games and have fun and enjoy all these wholesome vibes we're going to put out for you. And I think we're going to kick it off as we always do with what we've been playing. And if anybody doesn't mind, I'd like to start this one off first.
All right, John.
Just because I want to talk about for a minute there I thought Reb was frozen in that wide-eyed stare. Like I was like, oh god, we lost Reb.
Doing it.
But so
Doing it.
I'm throwing out my Trials of Mana review on Saturday. We got an influencer code, so we weren't obligated to do a review, but I'm throwing one out.
John,
That's what it's
the
called.
influencer.
They
John.
called it an influencer code, so that's what they called it.
Great,
Okay.
John.
Great, hey, look, that's what they called it. All right, jeez.
No, I'm not making fun of you right now.
I know.
I'm not
I
even
know.
making fun
Yeah,
of
it's-
anyone. I'm making fun of the idea of
The idea of an influencer. Yeah,
God.
it's an influencer code. It's woo. Anyway, so we weren't obligated to do a review, but I'm gonna throw one out anyway. But I just want to say a quick few things about the game itself. As somebody who put 75 hours into Collection of Mana, specifically Seiken Densetsu 3, which is Trials of Mana for Super Nintendo, that released on Switch last year. It was the first time we'd ever gotten that game stateside, and I loved it. It's probably the most beautiful Super Nintendo game I've ever played. The remake is good. No, I'm not reviewing it in baby talk. I'm not reviewing it in uwu speak. It's not going to happen. Although I will say, right off the bat, this game has the worst voice acting I've ever heard in any game anywhere.
I feel like that's hyperbole, John.
No, it's really not.
John, I've shown you Sleepy Time.
John, you have shared
no.
clips of Deadly Premonition.
No, this is worse.
How about let's
actually
compromise?
worse.
The worst voice acting in modern video game history.
Okay.
No, this is so. I sent some to Dio, and I'm sure Dio in chat will confirm that it's really, especially the character Charlotte, who speaks completely in uwu speak. I can't believe this is a thing that Square allowed to happen.
Can I ask what uwu speak is?
So basically, it's replacing all the R's and L's with
There's
W's.
a Twitter account. What's the someone in chat? What's the news
Like,
account that does things in uwu
Like
speak?
Twitty Please,
Is it
like that.
So, like what? Like Elmer Fudd?
Yeah, the whole game. I
That's
selected
unfortunate.
Charlotte. I selected Charlotte as one of my characters, and after literally 30 seconds of hearing her speak and thinking about listening to that for 25 hours, I started the game over and picked a different character because I was like, I am not doing that. And even the rest of the voice acting is bad. Like you'll encounter a ghost, and he literally goes, "I'm a ghost," and I was like, I'm fucking like.
Jeff, Imran just linked in chat exactly what I was looking for. Waking Nuwus is basically a bunch of headlines written in uwu speak. If you just want a quick primer on what that sounds like, you click on that and just read a couple.
Look, like it's very clearly it's a lower budget title, and it shows. I played it on PS4 Pro, and although the game ran well, it runs at a pretty smooth 60 frames per second. There's a lot of texture pop in. There's a lot of muddy textures. There's not a single story beat that's been changed, and I feel like my feelings on this game would have been stronger had I not just played Final Fantasy VII Remake.
John, can I just get a rewind here? What is this game for people who have not heard of this series? I'm sorry, and I'm mostly asking for me.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Is it a remake?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a remake in the sense that the combat is different.
Before the yes told me a lot.
It's an actual like action RPG now. Like it's you don't have to wait for your attacks anymore. Like like you did in Trials of Mana. It's really simple. It's a button masher, and you dodge around and you button mash. Like that's what you do. As far as I can tell, like I finished the game in about 20-ish hours. Not a single story beat was changed from the original game for Super Nintendo. Like it's all the same story beats. It's all the same characters. And it's fine. It's fine. I don't feel like this needed to exist. I don't feel like anybody was asking for a remake of Trials of Mana. And I having finished the game, I would have rather Square Enix put effort into something else maybe. Because I just don't feel this was necessary. And it had the really bad misfortune to follow something like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which completely turned that original game on its head. And this is just more of the same, but 3D. Like, I mean, it's fine. I don't see myself playing it again. But yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna toss a video review out on Saturday if anybody wants to actually hear my in-depth feelings on it. But it's at $49.99, I think it's a little too expensive.
Maybe a good summer game.
Maybe. But again, like I mean, if you need an RPG to play this summer, like there are better options out there in my opinion. Like Xenoblade. What I was going to say was Xenoblade Chronicles is coming out at the end of May. You've got Persona 5 Royal right now, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like there are better JRPGs to spend your time with right now,
Halo.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Halo. Yeah, Halo's and Halo's an amazing JRPG.
Like Halo.
RPG.
You know what? I'm just imagining a Halo RPG in my head, and it could be pretty cool.
Yeah, it could be sick actually.
Yeah.
Wasn't there
could be
like
cool.
that MMO Halo game that got canceled?
Wait,
there
do you
was
mean-
some
do you mean,
leaked stuff. No, not the Mega Bloks one.
No.
It was basically like World of Halo. And there's like a picture of like this really like cartoony looking like Spartan going to fight like a cartoony looking grave mine and stuff. It looks very funny.
What was the initial Halo video? It wasn't an FPS, right?
It was-
It was originally an RTS that was supposed to be
Right.
exclusive for Mac.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
That was what Halo originally was.
Mac was a little less popular back then.
Things changed quite a bit in development
Yep.
for that game.
Yeah, wasn't it like didn't Steve Jobs wasn't he the original presenter for
Yeah.
what Halo
Yes,
was going to
yes.
be?
He was.
Halo, the RTS Halo was supposed to be like the original big push for
Rex.
Mac gaming.
Reb is
And
hyped
then-
to hear this Halo.
No,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm not yelling at you guys.
And then it
I
ended-
apologize for all of my
Stop,
demeanor
you're fine.
tonight. I have had a very long day.
I believe you. Stop. You don't need to
My
apologize.
arms are the wrong direction right now because they've been sitting in my computer.
Wait,
for
what do
so
you mean?
long.
Do you mean like they should be like this?
No,
Or-
I'm trying to stretch them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm
Let's
sorry
all
for
do
interrupting.
this.
Please keep talking about this.
We were just.
I mean, that was it. That
Yeah,
was.
that was it.
Oh.
Has
Sorry.
anybody, before I talk about what I've been playing, has anybody been talking about, like, does anybody want to talk about what they've been playing that's particularly interesting and good?
I replayed Titanfall 2 again for like the 4th or 5th time this week.
Still good?
And yeah, still very good. And it's on sale for like $4 to $6 on almost any store. Buy that game, please. It's very, very good. I love BT. And yeah, I'm probably going to continue to replay that every now and then. But aside from that, not really much else.
Sick.
I just want to say that I am now at 270 hours in Animal Crossing New Horizons. That is too many. I am not stopping. I have begun to solve the flower problem, the aforementioned flower problem. And what the fuck? The fake paintings are haunted.
That's so much cooler than just having a fake painting.
It's very alarming. I love
scared.
it.
Yeah.
It's really good. If you don't know what that is, that was news that like happened today. Go look up the Animal Crossing fake paintings haunted. It's so cool. I love this game. That's it. I have nothing new to say about Animal Crossing
Jeff?
except that I still love it.
Jeff, have you been playing Animal Crossing too?
I have, but you know what? I actually did an entire episode on that with Reb and John, which everyone
up.
can listen to.
Yeah.
You can find that on iTunes and SoundCloud and Spotify and YouTube. You can find that stuff there.
You sure
Smash
can.
that subscribe button.
You can smash that like button if you want.
That's right.
So I don't want to go into Animal Crossing too much more, but yes, I've been playing that and it's wonderful. I've also been playing a game. I don't know if you guys heard of it, FF7 remake.
No, no. What is that? Please tell me more.
Halo
It's a niche RPG from like 100 years ago. They just remade
Oh,
it. But,
interesting. I didn't realize
We've
video
also
games
done a
had
full spoiler cast on and interviewed one of the voice actors.
true.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll skip that one.
Oh,
I'm not-
Jeff.
No, Jeff.
that's
please.
fine.
No, Jeff.
No, I don't have
No,
much to
Jeff,
say.
I want to
like-
hear about your thoughts
Say
about
what you
Final
No,
Fantasy.
Jeff, I was just plugging the other stuff that we've
I
done.
know.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean
No,
to.
I-
I didn't mean to sound like I was cutting you
I was
off.
not going to go in depth on it anyway.
I apologize.
It's fine. I'm halfway through, and I don't like. I'm really bad at articulating my thoughts on games lately, other than like it's good. So,
That's all it needs to be.
yeah, I don't know. It's basically everything I wanted out of the game. I'm sure there's a lot of criticism of it, and I'm sure I can look at it and say there's problems, but most of those problems for me were in the original game, and they're just ingrained. Like, it's just exactly what I wanted in a modern interpretation of it, warts and all. I love just all the little details, and a lot of it's nostalgia, and I don't care. I think it is a great game on its own right, but I think specifically they did a good job of kind of balancing that act between realizing there'd be new players, trying to modernize it, and then still keeping a lot of things that are important to the fans of the original, which is really, really tough to do. But what I really want to talk about, and you guys are going to wish I talked about FF7 because I'm going to bore everyone except for probably two people, is I'm going to talk about Session, which is a
Fuck
Steam-
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Session, it's in early access right now. I think it's only on Steam. So there's like basically when people think skateboarding games, you think either Tony Hawk Pro Skater or Skate. I love Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I was never a big fan of Skate. It didn't feel quite simmy enough for me, but it wasn't arcade enough to be like Tony Hawk. I don't know. It never felt good to me to play or felt right, and I'm sure that offends a lot of people, but I don't care. So I didn't play much of it, so I can't speak into detail on it. But Session is fucking awesome. I am shocked that this is an early access game because aside from the fact that it only has, I think, like 5 maps or something like that, it feels very good. It looks really good. There's some weird quirkiness with like the collision detection on grinds. Like I can do a nose slide, which should just be the front lip of your board, but I can do it on a ledge while my wheels are like flat on the ground, which should just semi flat. I don't know. So there's like, it's got some bugs, but it's just like a really slow pace. And what I love about it is, as someone who skateboarded a lot before I fucked up my body and got old, is so much of my time when I was younger skateboarding is you kind of like find a set of stairs and you spend 2 hours just trying to kickflip those stairs or something like that. You wipe out like 100 times, but like so much of it is just like picking something you want to do and then just trying over and over again until you do it. Whereas Tony Hawk games are more focused on like super long combos and point systems. There's no points in this that I've seen. There's like some challenges and stuff like that, but basically it's just a super chill game. They've got like this awesome lounge soundtrack. There's a few radio channels. You can get off your board and walk around, which helps because like then you don't have to like kind of awkwardly navigate and try and get up to a certain spot. You can just walk up the stairs and say, I want to board slide this rail, and you can just do it over and over again. There's like a replay system. But what I'm amazed at, and I can tell it's designed by people who skate, is like there's so much there's parts of games that combine to really help the overall feel of the game, and I think they're underappreciated. Like all the little pieces put together. Like I think I saw a demo one time of someone just took out screen shake from a game, and like what that does to like the impact when you get like shot or something happens is just like the game feels so sterile without it. And the little details in this game, like when you lean on the board and you see the board and the trucks, just the animation on that and the way it slowly tilts and it's not jerky, or the actual animations for when you kick off and pop the back of the board and bring your foot up. And there's like slight variations. So if you bring your foot straight out to do a kick flip, it'll do it really fast. But if you kind of drag it up toward the nose at an angle, it goes a lot slower and you might only get a 3/4 rotation and wipe out. Like it's just every little thing is so pristine. It like captures the feeling of that so well. I'm just blown away. If anyone has like any interest in skateboarding games or is like me and their body can't handle it for real, and you just want to inject yourself into a younger version on your computer, it's definitely, I think, worth a try. It's only like $20 Canadian, which is like $3 or something.
Who's the developer?
Oh, it's an indie studio, right?
It's Creature, I think.
It's a lot of the skate devs, right?
I don't know.
I honestly don't know. I didn't hear about it until just a month or so ago. So, yeah, I don't know. I wish I could give them credit, but...
So would you say, so obviously Tony Hawk way on one end of the spectrum as like a very arcade game, and then you said skate feels somewhere in the middle between arcade and sim. Is this very much on the other end where it's just like 100% sim, or does it feel still a little bit arcadey?
I mean, it's very, very easy to pull off basic tricks like ollies, kick flips, heel flips on flat ground. So I would say it's not... it's definitely closer to sim.
Okay.
Like for example, like if you're trying to do a board slide and you have to manually do an ollie, then you have to release all of the control inputs. Then while you're in mid-air, you have to turn your body 180. Then you have to use the analog sticks to center your weight on the rail. And if you're off by a little bit and your truck or wheels catch the rail, you'll bail. If your balance is off, you'll wipe out and fall. Like there's a lot, and it's a pretty big learning curve. It takes a lot to get the feel for everything, but it's very heavy on the sim. I'm fuzzy on the skate comparison because I haven't played that series in like 10 years and I didn't play much of it to begin with. But I would say this is like Gran Turismo, where it's like a sim, but then there's still those people who are like, oh, it's not really a sim. So it's pretty realistic and it's pretty fucking hard. But on the flip side, it's very rewarding when you like pull off really simple stuff.
Sick. Well, it sounds like fun, and like I think so. As far as I know, they have at least an Xbox port planned where it's coming later once the game has a little bit of its PC core.
I think it's coming really soon because their latest update I saw on Steam from like a week ago said their next milestone is the Xbox milestone.
Sweet.
So it's probably like the Xbox preview or something like that.
Cool. So it seems cool, and like you said, $20 Canadian. I think it's still $20 US too. So it's up on Steam right now. So cool. So I think I want to talk about. So I have been playing. This game came out last summer on PC, but I had an opportunity to check out Telling Lies from Annapurna and Sam Barlow. It just came to console.
Yeah.
It just came to Switch, Xbox, and PS4. Have any of you guys played that game?
I played like 5 minutes of it. I was really excited about it, but then like I had to go do something else, and I didn't come back to it in time. I want to play it.
Okay.
It looks good.
Okay.
I have played Her Story. I have not played Telling Lies. I loved Her Story though.
Okay.
this is the one where it uses the actual video of real actors, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
4 of them. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know this game.
Is the proper Justin? You'll know. Is the proper term for this VFM? Where it's like real. It's basically like,
FMV.
FMV,
Yeah, sorry.
yes.
I've had a
Yeah.
margarita.
FMV.
I've had a margarita. Sorry. But so basically, the premise of the game, without spoiling anything, is you have been given software on a computer that is NSA software, and the whole layering is really bizarre. Where the opacity is really low, and it feels like it's first-person perspective when you're looking at your computer. Like you see yourself, the woman you're playing as, like reflected on your TV screen, which is very strange. And then you're clicking through video files, and you're watching these video files that are from 4 different perspectives, and they are one side of, like, think of FaceTime calls. But instead of having, like, if Reb and I are on a FaceTime call, instead of it being you hear Reb and me, you can only hear one person at a time. So you hear half of a conversation. And then from that half of a conversation, you can learn new things about a narrative. And all of these videos have dates and times assigned to them. And you have to try to pair the videos up to each other to try to streamline a narrative. And then you can keyword search in this NSA search key term all of the words that are being said to try to, like, further string along a narrative. And so you were playing as you were trying to track this guy who is an FBI agent who is married, who is trying to infiltrate a leftist organization that the FBI deems to be a risk, and then also, like, some of, like, his own personal life stuff. And you were trying to streamline this narrative that follows basically 18 months of his life. And it's interesting, like, my wife and I were playing it together last night on Xbox, and we were, like, an hour in, and we think we saw what we think is the final scene of the game, but we don't have enough information to, like, fully streamline what the context of why the character was doing the things he was doing. But it's super interesting. You're basically, like, just scrubbing through, like, hours and hours of footage from 4 different perspectives and trying to figure out, okay, like, what was this guy, you know, he's an FBI agent, what was, like, his genuine life and how he actually felt with the people he was around, and then what was the character he was playing. And so characters have aliases, right? And so you're trying to, like, shovel through all of that, and keyword search. It's been, honestly fascinating, and, like, I didn't think the port would work on console, because obviously, like, scrubbing through footage feels like such a native PC thing, but it's weird, like, so again, you're playing as this woman. You can always see, like, her watching the screen at, like, a 10% opacity. But, like, every once in a while, like, her cat will just jump across the keyboard, and you'll, like, see it interrupt the footage of, like, you just trying to watch this thing, and it's wild. Yeah.
It's kind of like when Robo jumps up on Reb's desk whenever she's podcasting.
Yeah, it is just that. But yeah, so again, it's called. I think it's from the studio called Drowning a Mermaid. I want to say is Sam Barlow's studio. He made Her Story is also. Is that right, Justin?
Yes, and this sounds very similar to Her Story, where, like, that was just a bunch of, like, clips from an interview, and then you just searched keywords, and then it would bring up all relevant clips. Yeah. Which was a really cool way, because I remember partway through, I ended up searching a keyword that was, and then, like, got a clip that was part of, like, the big revelation for what actually happened in that mystery. And it was like, oh crap. And then I had, like, 3 or 4 other keywords to search to, like, assemble everything to get to that point. It was really, really cool. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Well, and it's that same concept, right? So your guy's name is David, but when he's talking to his wife, he's got one last name. When he's talking to a contact within the FBI, he's got another last name. And then he's got a girlfriend that he's trying to infiltrate with. He's got a third last name. And then he's a fourth last name that's like one of his, like basically, like, I guess I'll say this. This isn't really a spoiler. He befriends, like, a sex worker, and he gives her a different last name that he's going under. And so these are all, so basically for the same character, you have 4 different last names that you could be plugging in and into the search terms to try to pull up videos that correspond with where they are in the narrative. And you try to, like honestly, playing it, I wanted to have, like, a notepad in front of me where I can keep track of the dates. Yeah. So I can see, like, okay, I know this person did this to him in July, but in May, they were really close friends. So, like, what happened in June that led to this falling out? And I don't really know what success looks like so far, right? Because so far, it's weird. Like, you watch the clips, and in my head, I think I know where the story is going, but there's no way in the game to track, like, Like, you don't really keep track of your, like, you don't really build a timeline.
So you just have to take notes, basically.
Basically. But it's so unique, and I didn't play Her Story, but, I mean, Sam Barlow is just kind of known for this kind of storytelling, and I don't know, it's been really compelling. So it's been on PC for a while, and then it just came to Switch, PC, and Switch, Xbox, and PS4 this week. It just, like, it was like a shadow drop. Like, it just came randomly on, like, Tuesday. But it's a cool video game, and I haven't said anything too spoilery, unless my margarita is erasing my memory. But it has been a very cool video game, and I think it retails for $20 or $25, which seems like kind of a steal for, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours of, like, thriller mystery that is, like, easily digestible with a friend who is also an adult, because there are some adult themes. But it's a cool game, and I like it, and people should play this video game, and that's all I have to say.
Back to it.
It's sick.
I've been looking for something else to get back to because I'm dumping so much time into Animal Crossing, and I want to pick up another game, but I'm not sure what. So maybe I'll think about starting that over again. I'm like only 5 minutes. I've watched like 2 videos. I could get into it.
Yeah.
Telling Lies is on my list, and finally getting around to playing Deadly Premonition is also on my list. Especially now that we got the date for the sequel coming in July. And now that I've watched Twin Peaks, because I initially had a chance to play it, but I hadn't watched Twin Peaks at that point. And since then I have. So I'm hoping maybe I'll probably grab a couple of those and get into those this week.
Sweet. So
I want to finish Kentucky Route Zero soon, too.
Yes, please, Dreb. That's, like, easily one of my favorite games this year.
I finished the Act 3.
Okay, so you're just about to
cool.
You're just about to get to the good. I mean, it's all good shit, but yeah. Okay, before we get into, like, our meaty topic of the night, does anybody have any questions about anything anyone's been playing, or Telling Lies? Again, shouts out for Telling Lies. That game's sick, and I'm happy.
How's that margarita, Zach?
Oh, am I that embarrassing?
Really? No. I want you to have another one.
You're a delight as usual.
Yeah, you're always a delight. I will say that Streets Rage 4 is very, very, very good, and you should definitely go pick it up.
That game is good. I'm so glad that game is getting reviewed well.
It's good.
Yeah, I've been playing it on my Switch Lite, and it is just gorgeous. It's like Justin said earlier, it's one of the best looking 2D games I've ever seen. John, like it is just a phenomenally beautiful game.
John, it's on like every platform.
Open the closet again.
Uh-oh. John, it's on like every platform except for Stadia, right? Does that sound about right?
Yes. I don't know if it's on. I don't want to say it's not on Stadia because I don't know, but it is on Xbox and Switch and PS4, and I think it's probably on PC.
Yeah,
it is.
Switch is perfect for this game because it's short. It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. There's a lot of things to unlock. It's a natural fit, and it's just a really good game.
I know for a fact that it launched day and date with Xbox Game Pass on PC and on Xbox with Play Anywhere, so you can carry your progress between the two.
Right. I do know there are considerable issues with the Windows Store version.
You know, that sounds about right.
Which sounds familiar. It sounds like every version, at least every console version, is an excellent port. From what I can glean, people are having issues starting it from the Windows Store.
Sounds right.
So be warned about that. But it sounds like the game is very much worth your time.
There is a question.
I want to check that.
There is a question in chat about online co-op. Yes, the game does have online co-op. So it's just a lot of fun, especially if you like side-scrolling beat 'em ups or Streets of Rage at all. You can actually unlock the old pixelated characters from the Sega Genesis games too. Which I think is really, really fucking cool. But yeah, I just wanted to give Streets of Rage a quick shout out.
Sick. All right, are we ready to talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla?
So before we talk about Assassin's Creed, can we talk about the Indivisible thing real quick?
Yes.
Do you mind?
I'm sorry.
Because it's gonna be fast. Yeah, this is such a
right
weird. This is such a weird story that I want to talk about it.
Okay.
So Indivisible, for anybody who doesn't know, is a Kickstarter game. It's a 2D side-scrolling RPG in the vein of Valkyrie Profile. The battle system is very similar. The world exploration is very similar. A lot of platforming, stuff like that. And it came out on PS4, PC, and Xbox last September, I believe. Last September or October. And it was slated to come out on the Switch. So this week, 505 Games published it. They're the publisher. They dropped it on the Switch. without even telling the devs, let alone anyone else.
Wait, is that
and
confirmed? That that's how
Yes.
it
Yep.
happened?
that is
That
how
is
it happened.
confirmed.
They just
That is straight from the developers.
the developers found out it was on Switch because people were congratulating them for their Switch launch, and not only that, but the game launched. It's an older build of the game without the day one patch, and the eShop art was wrong. It was the wrong art for the eShop page, and the whole thing is so fucking bizarre. And I don't understand how something like this actually happens. I'm not smart on the relationship between publishers and devs, but I do know, like, there's not just a magic button you accidentally push and then you go, oh shit, I accidentally published the store or the game to the storefront. Like, it's more involved in that. So I'm trying to, like, Reb, as somebody with some industry knowledge, like you may or may not know about this kind of stuff, but like, what do you think happened there? Like,
I think that 505 dropped a ball somewhere. I'm not really sure. I'm not a developer. Or a publisher.
Yeah.
I don't know quite I don't know either quite what the specifics are and how you get a game to show up on the eShop. I kind of do think there's just like a button you push. Though,
is there just a button you push?
But
every
every game has to go through cert on every platform, and a lot of times they fail. Like, it's
right. So to a degree, right? Like, so there are things that you have to do. Like, you have to go through certification. Like, you have to get like X, Y, and Z approved. You have to get like your build in there. You have to get like a store page and all of that. Like, there's a lot of things you have to do. But I'm pretty sure that there is a point in the process, like once all of that has been cleared, where you are ready to go, and it is just up to somebody in charge to say, okay, we're live now. Like, I'm pretty sure that's how it works, but I don't know, so sorry if that's just extremely wrong. But I think it does end up being in the hands of the publisher when that happens. And so what it looks like happened is 505 just like published like the build's complete. Like, it's a full build of the game. Like, it's an older build. It's the one I'm not sure which build it is, but it's like a full one that was out earlier, but like PC and the other platforms have since had updates for like New Game Plus and like some other things too.
And co-op too.
And co-op. Yeah. So it's like an older build of the game, but it definitely seems like it's 505's fault, because like based on one of the programmers, is it programmer? Yeah, he's one of the programmers, was tweeting about it and was kind of trying to diplomatically say, hey, we didn't know anything about this. Also, the localization people didn't know about it either. Everybody was great. The port people. The port people didn't know about it either. Like, nobody knew about it. So the tweet that I thought was very interesting was, he said, in the most politically correct answer imaginable, I will just say that perhaps posts detailing similar situations about a game that shares some familial ties with Indivisible might possibly be happened upon if you were to look hard enough. I mean, no official comment. Oh, and then he said, and I don't mean Skullgirls. So my guess from that is that he's talking about Bloodstained, because if you remember, Bloodstained Switch release was also a giant mess.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And the familial ties in that case would be 505. Now, I'm speculating. I don't fucking know. No one's giving me a comment. But it seems like 505 is just not having a good time with Switch.
In general, like, even when stuff releases when it's supposed to and everything, I have found a lot of releases from 505 to be very buggy at launch.
I don't feel, but that seems again, I'm not trying to like argue with you, but like that feels super anecdotal. Like Control was like obviously like the opposite situation. Like, that game launched in pretty much great standards.
It had pretty bad performance. They had to fix it a couple weeks later.
It's also not on Switch.
Yeah. Also, very true. Yeah, I think 505 and Switch is one story. But I also think that, like, I guess I would be reluctant to say it is 505's fault that, like, Control launched with iffy performance. I'm more, especially as somebody who played Quantum Break this generation.
Fair.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems weird, and I guess it's like, is this a 505 issue? Is this something to do with how does the Switch have a very different submission and publishing arrangement compared to other platforms? It's a bizarre scenario, no matter what.
Say?
Right.
In the case of Bloodborne, I feel like it wasn't
being Bloodstained.
No, Bloodborne.
Sorry, Bloodborne.
No,
Jesus
Bloodborne.
Christ. I meant to say Bloodstained. Sorry.
It's
in the
okay.
case,
It's only Monday.
oh God, Rev, don't do that. Uh, Jesus, it's only March, guys. In the case of Bloodstained, it launched on PS4 and Xbox One in pretty good condition. It ran pretty well. I feel like a lot of the problems on Switch were more the fault of the dev team and just it not being optimized well for Switch. It's not. I mean, Ega knew that it was being published on Switch. It just wasn't ready to be published. I'm not sure I would necessarily say that it was 505's entirely 505's fault that Bloodstained launched the way it did on Switch. However, having said that, this is 110% their fault, and it's not only is it unfortunate for the game itself because it got pushed without features that other consoles have now. It's unfortunate for the devs because there was no marketing push at all for the Switch version.
Right, you only get one first impression opportunity.
Yeah. And it was just they just pooped it out and didn't bother saying a single. They didn't even tweet about it. It was just out. It was just out. 505 didn't actually say
like 6 hours later or something.
I'm sure it was a fuck up, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a fuck up.
I'm sure it
I think
was.
the other big loss here that again would be on 505 and it indicates it's a mistake is there was no lead up. There was no the release date for Switch was still TBA. There was no official release date for it yet. There was no PR, there was no marketing lead up, just nothing. And that's why it's clearly a mistake, right? Because that's not just a bummer for the developers. Like that fucks over the publisher too. Like they're supposed to get money from this and they're not going to get their money if there's a fuck up like that.
I feel like this only happens in like a COVID world in which people are like, yeah, we pushed it live. Shit. Like
I don't know. I was trying to figure out. I thought when I saw that, I was like, I feel like we've had a similar story recently. What could that have been? If you recall, when Apple Arcade launched, a bunch of developers didn't know.
That's right.
Apple Arcade at launch or something, and they were like, wait, hold on, or it was launching early.
That's right.
Their games were just out, and some of them were not finished, like older builds, and they were like, wait, hold on, wait, you didn't tell us, Apple. But that's an interesting because you think with Apple would have its shit together on that.
I'm not gonna
What's
lie.
up with Apple Arcade?
I kind of
haven't heard
forgot
it
Apple Arcade
mentioned
existed until Rab just.
Since
gotta cancel that
launch.
subscription, guys.
It seems like it's fine. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't. I forgot it was even a thing.
Well, that's.
I think Apple Arcade's one of those things that's not for. It's not for people who are deeply online and super gamers.
Totally.
It's for. It's good for particular demographics that people.
If you're extremely online, then Apple Arcade isn't for you.
If you're extremely online, a lot of things are not for
That's
you.
true. Does anybody play Indivisible, or do we have anything else we need to say about this game?
Yeah,
I've played Indivisible. It's great. That's all I gotta say. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I backed
music
it. Yeah, it was
slaps.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff, have you played Indivisible?
I have not. I don't think I had heard of it until this happened. Unless someone on this podcast talked about it on a previous show, in which case I
have not.
did hear about it, but my memory is terrible. So it's not that I wasn't listening to you. I'm just imagining a show where John talked about it for 40 minutes, and then he's like, "What?" No.
I think I may have talked about it after a PAX briefly, but also if I was talking about it after a PAX, I was talking about a bunch of other games along with everyone else.
Sure.
So no worries there.
All right, let's hop into that Assassin's Creed talk. Zach, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, previously known as Assassin's Creed Kingdom or Kingdoms, like most Assassin's Creed games in the last 5 years, has kind of been floating around in the rumor sphere for the last year or so about what the game would be. And of course, yesterday at 8 a.m. they announced they were going to have a stream in which they showed 8 hours of boss logic doing a very, very cool building of the game's kind of key art using Photoshop, where he would start with these very crude assets of very blown out 240 by 100 pixel things, and he'd slowly build it out into this very impressive key art, and it took 8 hours. And then today they showed a cinematic trailer. It is a game taking place, it's obviously Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It takes place as the Vikings during basically their feuds. These are not the right words. Feuds with the British. Their feuds with the British. And it seems interesting. It feels like it's juxtaposing against the narrative that we've heard a lot about Vikings, which is the British are people just trying to live their lives, and the Vikings came to raid. The game seems like it's rejecting that, and it's actually saying no, the British painted the Vikings this way when the Vikings were actually very, very different, and maybe were reacting to the way they were being treated rather than being, the aggressors. And so I'm interested in that. But there's also a greater narrative here too, which is One, how the game contrasts to old school Assassin's Creed. It seems to be continuing the RPG path of being very much like The Witcher, less stealth, more traditional RPG, sword and shield stuff, but also people seem to be a little bit disappointed in the way they presented the protagonist in this trailer. Reb has her hand up. Reb, take it away.
Yeah, did everybody know that there are both male and female protagonist options again in this game? If you watched the cinematic trailer, you would have absolutely no idea.
You would have no idea
about that information, which is just a damn shame. It appears that they have revealed this. They gave that information in a couple of interviews, but the very first image that most of us saw of Eivor, I guess is the last name, and I'm gonna call her like Lady Eivor here, but I think it's ridiculous that we should have Shep and Femshep because man is not the default state of being. Yeah, they revealed her in a figurine that's part of one of the collector's editions or something, and that was just like the first. We don't have. I think there's some screenshots on a website somewhere, but they're just like I don't fucking know where they are.
She's also in the key art, but like she's like so like the key art from yesterday from Bossology. Again, this is gonna be
Are you
nothing.
fucking shitting me, really?
So this is the people. Okay, means nothing to people who are listening to this and not watching it. But the key art is like the ice over here and the castle over here and the man with the beard holding an axe. In the back corner, you can draw comparisons of someone holding an axe, a woman holding an axe, to the woman on here. But like it is so underplayed.
Are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah, she's in the background holding an axe up. I think.
My god! All right, so I'm just like bummed out about that, right? Because like
they did it last year too, at least on the box art for Odyssey.
Yeah, it's been kind of funny to sort of watch the way people have tried to get into my Twitter mentions and talk to me about this, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, Cassandra was in all the marketing for the previous Assassin's Creed, so they wanted to switch it back up. No, she wasn't. Are you kidding? Like, Alexios was the default for most of it. It's just that everybody lost their shit on social media over Cassandra because she's fantastic and beautiful and perfect in every way.
Those biceps.
And so, like, everybody felt... Well, not even everybody. Like, apparently, I think the breakdown was that more people actually played as Alexios, but Cassandra was just, like, fucking cooler. And
although it is funny that like, that's true, because, like, in my sphere, I don't know a single person that played Odyssey that played as Alexia. Like, every single person I have spoken to or seen a screenshot posted from was always Cassandra. Like, it's very kind of strange to see that divide.
Yeah, I think it's a bummer, and I want to preface this by saying that I don't. I feel like a little bit guilty, and I know I shouldn't feel guilty, but I feel like slightly guilty for picking on Ubisoft about this, because this is just a thing that video games do. But I think it's been kind of a little bit more obvious with Ubisoft, because they sometimes like take, a couple steps forward and then a couple steps back on it. Like they keep like pretending like, oh, we're going to do this thing and make sure that like we kind of diversify a little bit, and then they just kind of back off a little bit. And it's very frustrating. But there's this whole problem with like white man being like the default state of being in video games. And it's just really exasperating that is just like always like, for like story-based games. Like there's games with character customization. Like there's all kinds of things like that. But it's just very frustrating that this is like just always the default state of being every single time. And the Assassin's Creed series has like this long hit. Like they had male protagonists for the longest time. And then when they started including lady protagonists, it was, as a second option for some of the missions, but not all of them. Or, in the case of Cassandra, it was okay, they have equal footing, right? Like they have these kind of separate stories. But we're going to, put all the marketing on Alexios, right? And so this just feels like more of the same. Like totally. It's always sort of like they're just too afraid. They're too afraid to make a fucking game where it's just a woman, where it's just a woman assassin just doing it. There was one, I know.
Do you remember, who here remembers what happened when they put a woman on the cover of Battlefront 5?
Yeah,
or Battlefield, sorry.
Yeah.
Battlefield 5. And people lost their fucking minds.
And props to EA.
That was...
Props to EA was like, fucking deal with it. They did.
Yeah, and EA was like, kiss our fucking asses. Like, just a woman on the cover, get over it. And I feel like reactions like that are the reason that more publishers don't do that. Because they just want to avoid getting screamed at by small but vocal base of really angry white male gamers.
Another game where it's like coming up is with Cyberpunk. Like that big 45-minute like gameplay reveal trailer was playing like as a woman character, and she looked so fucking cool. Like, and then the box art is just yellow with
Generic.
a bald guy with a gun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you could, like, even if they just wanted it to be a character picture, like, you already showed us a lot of gameplay with a way cooler character. And like the collectible thing, like the collectible statue that comes with it is, you know, this bald guy. It's like, I'm not gonna play as bald guy. Like, I'm gonna play as a more interesting looking character. So like, it's really frustrating when they do that, because a lot of the stuff that like you can purchase, even like Cassandra is really cool, but like weren't the statues like with Alexios or just like masked or something, so you couldn't tell which one it was?
Well,
Something like that. Like it spreads beyond just the marketing too, but like even like fans will have to, if they want like collectibles or something from like the female character, they will have to make their own and stuff.
they
And,
should have
like,
just
that
made.
sucks.
They should have just made Ivor, or whatever the character's name is. They should have just. They should have just made the character a woman. I mean, most of the time, most of the time in this series, when there is, two characters, like they did the same thing in Syndicate, right? Like you could play as the dude and his sister, but it was only the dude, if I remember correctly, on the box art, and he was sitting in a chair, looking very brooding. But his sister was nowhere to be seen.
Well, yeah, it's because you couldn't. She was like sort of a secondary option, right? Like I don't think you could play through all the missions of the game as her.
I thought you could switch back and forth.
Wait, and
Yeah,
which
you could
one?
switch back and forth freely, and I think
Yeah.
I thought sometimes you had to play as one or the other. Like I thought it switched up.
Yeah, there were some missions as one or the other.
I mean, I think the frustrating thing is, and I actually think this is actually worse than AC Odyssey. AC Odyssey, obviously there is Alexios and Cassandra. In this game, it seems like they're referring to both characters as Eivor. It's just it's basically it's kind of like, you know how like there are many names that can apply to you know what I mean. Like it is a name that can apply to however someone wants to identify. And I actually feel like a step back, and maybe it's more approachable that way. I don't know, but like it feels like they are like it feels like it's less work for a development team too, which I guess I guess in one way I don't want them to be doing more work, but also maybe you should be putting more effort into letting people.
Isn't this
look,
the same?
Chad is like apparently telling me that I'm just like deeply wrong about everything that I've seen about Assassin's Creed marketing. So that's like fine, like whatever. They've kept like male and female characters like on equal footing, whatever. But I think the trailer was a bummer. The trailer was a bummer.
The trailer
That's
was
what I
a
got.
bummer. The trailer was a bummer. And I want to say like it's hard because maybe I'm misremembering, but I felt like some of the rumors we had heard about Assassin's Creed Kingdoms about this game before it had launched was that it was going to be co-op centric. And that's obviously not true. The game is not very I don't think there's any co-op in the game at all. And so part of me was like, well, maybe they didn't want to put in the trailer two characters that look like protagonists because it would make people think there was co-op. But also, the way to reject that in your marketing shouldn't be to default. Well, then just show the man. Like,
But isn't this also the franchise? I can't remember which game, but for the multiplayer, you couldn't play as a woman because they were too hard to animate.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, it was Assassin's Creed that said the 200
Yeah.
anime thing.
Well, Ubisoft has had a not so great track record with it, and I think it's frustrating, right? Because I mean, it's what you've all said, which is like our circle of people who are heavily involved in playing. It is not your casual game players. Very heavily favored Cassandra over Alexios, but yet the data suggests from Ubisoft said that 2-1 people picked Alexios over Cassandra. So like. It's frustrating, but I'm sure they were like, well, data suggests that more people prefer the man, so let's just show the man again. And it's one of those circumstances where like they probably used data in a way that is frustrating and perpetuates a problem, rather than trying to say something interesting.
I think the only game
I want to give Jeff a chance. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
I just can't see him talking, so it's Jeff.
Sorry, I didn't hear him.
You're fine, Jeff.
No, it's fine. Like hopefully I'm not too off base here, but I want to touch on what Reb said. Like she said she feels bad for singling out Ubisoft, but I think it's almost more frustrating me with Ubisoft because I feel like there's some developers that I see like, a white male and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like I just know that like the guy that made what was it, Kingdom Come or Kingdom Come, right?
Yeah, Deliverance.
Kingdom Come with Deliverance, yeah.
I'm like, okay, shocker, he's like a white male dude, but like Ubisoft, I feel like in a lot of ways they've done really well.
Mhm.
Like you said, they had Jacob and Evie was actually like an awesome character. Then they had Marcus in Watch Dogs 2. And then Assassin's Creed Origins, they had Bayek and Aya, who were both excellent characters. Aya especially was awesome. And it's like they clearly have a desire to make these characters, and they actually do a lot of them well. These kind of more diverse, non-white male characters, but they never commit the full way. It's like they're still scared, and I think that's almost more frustrating to me than just a studio I can just write off as like, okay, whatever. They're just like misogynist or just racist or whatever. Like they clearly have like a wide, like a diverse talent pool there, and they care about making me. But like there's something at some level, whether it's at marketing or the top level, is just like, we just can't put her on the cover. And it's just like, go all the way, just go all in. Who cares?
I think you're absolutely right, and I think for me this became especially evident around how we were first pitched Far Cry 5, and then the Far Cry 5 we got. Which is just that, like, it feels like somewhere along the line, like, and I think Yves Guillemot, despite, like, who I think, especially, like, we've seen stories, especially under the pandemic, of ways that Ubisoft is doing a lot to support their teams, which I appreciate, but also we're seeing stories where, like, around times where people were like, well, you're dealing with inherently political stories, why aren't you leaning into the politics here, because they're here, and he's like, well, we're telling stories for everybody, we want players to make their own decisions around the politics. And, like, that's not how I think creativity and creative art should work, right? Like, Sicario isn't like, well, it's up to your interpretation of how, like movies have politics and art has politics, and Ubisoft is an easy company to get frustrated at because their creators deeply want to play in and around and make you consider political themes, and then somewhere in the marketing or in the publishing, we end up getting this really watered down version of what the game wants to be. And I don't want to give them a bunch of leeway because there are ways that the games fuck up too, and it's not just the marketing. But it's frustrating. Yeah. Ubisoft has had this issue for a while, and you're right, Jeff, that like this has been a thing that they've been dealing with for 5 years probably.
Yeah, I feel like Ubi has been at the forefront of some of this stuff. Like EA with the Battlefield cover just straight up said, it's not changing. We're not getting rid of women and minorities as playable characters in Battlefield, and stuff like that. And I remember a situation where this discussion kind of came up before, but I think they did it in a much better way. It was with Dishonored 2, where like Corvo being playable was only mentioned after like they didn't talk about it or show Corvo in the entirety of the review. I'm blanking on her name now.
Emily.
Emily. It was Emily that they showed the whole time, and showed all of her new powers and new abilities, and then it was kind of a footnote afterwards. They're like, oh, by the way, you can also play as Corvo and he with his abilities from Dishonored 1, which I thought was a cool way of doing it. Both characters also have distinct play styles, and that rules for that kind of game like Dishonored where you're experimenting and stuff. I thought they did a really good job there of, making it clear. Like, they focused on, the woman, both for being a new character, new abilities and stuff, but, like, the fact that, oh, hey, the guy that you played as in the first game was kind of a side note, which I thought was very cool. But, like, just kind of building on that, just, like, I think Ubi, like, you can just see such, like, I played Division 2 recently, and like you can see such a divide between what the teams have to say in marketing and then what the actual content of these games have. And then I also think just kind of when trying to like talk about like a unified design, and like there's an example of where they have like 15 studios are working on this new Assassin's Creed, and I think that kind of makes it hard to kind of unify a political or thematic statement that's really strong. And I think you can kind of see it in a lot of ways where things are kind of pulling in different directions. Sorry, I kind of lost track of what I was saying.
No, you're fine. I want to circle it back to Assassin's Creed real quick and just say that our issues with the depiction of the main character aside, I find it increasingly difficult to get excited about a new Assassin's Creed game because over time they've become less and less assassin-y. Like I feel like these are just open world RPGs now at this point.
Yeah,
They
they
are.
Which is fine, but at the same time, like we had been talking about this before we went live, but when they said, "Oh, Odyssey is going to be, it's a selling point that it's, this one is bigger, endless quest," and it's like, God, why? No, please, no, don't make it bigger. Like, and I feel like the series has really gotten away from the core of what it was. Like the last one I played was Black Flag, which was great. But even then, like your first assassination didn't really come until the back end of the game. Most of it was just a pirate simulator, and I feel like it's almost at this point doing the series is a disservice by pretending that it's about assassins anymore.
So
Like, see, that's funny, John, because Black Flag was the first one I played, and my thought playing that game was like, wow, all the pirate stuff is awesome, but this assassin shit sucks.
yeah, go ahead.
But I sympathize with people who like fell in love with the series around Assassin's Creed 2 because it's obviously the fundamentals of the game have changed so much. I think I said this a few years ago. I was like, they really should just drop the Assassin's Creed moniker. I understand they have it there because it has that brand power now. But like, these are so far removed. They should just get it, like, because the Assassin Templar shit in the games is so hamstrung. Like, it's
like
all about the historical setting now. Like, this is just a distraction. Like, get rid of all the Assassin Templar stuff. Stop calling it Assassin's Creed. Just make it a straight up historical series.
I think. Yeah, go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
No. I think the biggest issue here is like, and this is you're gonna roll your eyes. It's fine. The issue here is capitalism, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Despite I think all of us have various hangups with that game in terms of like its bloat and its scale and its size. It was the best-selling Assassin's Creed game this generation, despite the fact that it was the least quote-unquote Assassin's Creed-like game that we've had. I mean, people tastes have changed. What people want out of these games has changed, and of course, like, whether we like it or not, like, people are like, well, I want more weapons, I want more places to travel, I want more customization, I want more, and like, this is where we are. I think that my excitement for this game is purely hinged on any next-gen console launch, which is like, what it takes to impress me is probably lower, right? Like, think about, like, your Rise Son of Rome's, your was it Killzone Shadowfall?
yes.
Killzone Shadowfall.
Shadowfall. Like,
launch game for
your launch game expectations are lower, and so like of course I'm going to buy this game at launch because
I wasn't. Black Flag was a great launch game though.
Sure. Sure.
But like I'll say this right, like kind of leaping off what Jeff was talking about. I feel like as the series evolves over time, it's become more of an excuse to be like, okay, which historical period can we visit next, as opposed to carrying the narrative of the Assassins versus the Templars forward in any meaningful way.
You just gotta give in, John. We're just on Yee's wild ride.
I
Wasn't there a game?
It is really funny. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was just gonna say, wasn't there a game, like, I know the modern day stuff has been a joke for a while. I swear there was one game where they just didn't have any. Or
that was
they've basically not had any. I remember Origins, I was like 15 hours in, and then all of a sudden it shifted to like, I'm like, I have no idea who these characters are or what's going on, and then you could just go around and read some emails or listen to some audio recordings, which I didn't do, and I just immediately jumped back in.
In Assassin's Creed 2, I remember every time it switched from Desmond, I'm like, oh God, I gotta play as fucking Desmond now. Like, this is so boring and dumb.
So
I want to run around Rome. What? Go ahead, Zach.
No, I just mean, like, let's wrap up this aspect of it. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's cinematic trailer. A little bit disappointed that they only were willing to show the male perspective in it. It's frustrating. I'm sure Ubisoft would point to all sorts of data analytics for why they made that decision. It doesn't make it any less disappointing. But I actually, unless somebody objects, I want to reframe the presentation of Assassin's Creed Valhalla to what they have announced along with Xbox for next week, which is that we will be seeing the first gameplay next week debuting. Xbox is hosting a Series X gameplay premiere next Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time next Thursday.
Maybe we should be streaming that, folks. Maybe we should be streaming that.
John, a lot of us are. Maybe. I'm working. Some people.
I'll stream
I don't want to
I'll
commit to it. I don't want to commit to it yet. But point being, we're going to see some gameplay. And I think we also want to talk about Xbox in terms of predictions, but I want to say do we think that there's an opportunity here for? There's always an opportunity. Will Ubisoft show the female perspective in this trailer? Are you going to be playing from the female lead perspective in this trailer next week when they play it for people from the Xbox's show?
That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
That'd be
I
cool.
would hope so.
Yeah,
I think they will.
So I do think. I mean, I kind of want to go back to that a little bit. Like, I don't think this is not like the hill to die on, right? Like, I mean, I think they're gonna do fine. Cassandra was awesome. Like, she was well done. Like, for a reason. I don't think this is gonna be like some like terrible sexist game. It's just like a little thing that got under my skin because like, you know, years and years of just, you know, I was watching the reveal stream, like the whole thing where he was doing like art and it was like really cool, and people on the internet are shitty, and so like there was just this constant like stream in the chat of, you know, no woman, or what, no female. That's what it was. Just all caps, no female, over and over and over again. And it was just really, it was just sucky. And so I just kept smiling at it and looking at it because like before they like showed like kind of the beard and like made it clear that it was probably a man. Like I just kept thinking, wouldn't it be really funny if it was just a burly ass Viking woman? Like, wouldn't that just like really just, you know?
I would
stick it
love
in?
that.
To be fair though, her
Really?
design is pretty rad.
Oh, it's great. It's really cool.
She looks like a badass.
I was thinking, oh, it'd be so cool if it's just like, you know, show off this kind of like real burly Viking, and then, you know, it scrolls up a little bit and you're like, oh yeah, it's a woman, yeah. And I was thinking that the whole time, and then just to have it like not be that, just to have it be like, you know, just like another white dude, it was just kind of like, yeah, totally. Well, games, you know, just the same. So, but I mean, I think it'll be fine. Like, you know, you know what? I bet they do. Actually, I bet we do get her viewpoint in the gameplay. I actually would be willing to pin it on that because I think they know that they did a good thing with Cassandra, even if more people apparently played as Alexios, which I think is bullshit.
Totally.
Those people are wrong. But I think they know that they had a good thing in Cassandra, and they're gonna, you know, want to show that off. And so,
Well, she's the canon character, right, Reb? Like,
I don't even know what that means.
I think so.
Yeah, like according to like official Assassin's Creed lore, like she exists and Alexios doesn't.
Well, like the other character has a role in the story depending on which one you choose.
You know, I feel like we're so past the point of Assassin's Creed having quote.
Nobody cares what the Assassin's Creed canon is.
Yeah. You know.
I am like one of those weird like Assassin's Creed people. I really, really loved the first Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Despite it being repetitive as shit, it was cool.
I don't remember it super well, but I remember there's a mission where you have to go, like assassinate this dude who's like, it's like, I think he's like this priest or something,
The
or
priest,
like a religious leader or whatever.
He's a Catholic priest.
Yeah, and he's like really deep in this building that has like all these kind of like beams across the ceiling or whatever, but it's like surrounded by people who could spot you, and then that's in like a town where a bunch of people like you have the whole thing is stealth.
Yeah.
You physically cannot just go in there and just murder him in like in broad daylight. There is no way to do that. If you try to do that, everyone will kick the shit out of you because there was a combat system, but it was like built for taking on like one or two people. And if something like this happened, then everyone would just converge on you. You would just die. Like there's just no way to get out. And so you had to at least attempt some kind of stealth. Like you still could like kill him and then fight your way out, but like you had to do some elements of it stealth wise. And I remember how exciting it was to like sit there and have to look at this like big structure and like see where like the hay bales were and where like the things I could hide in were, and you know, who could I like, I don't know, like, and you had to get like information from these like informants around the city to figure out where this guy even was and who you were supposed to kill in the first place. And I loved that. It was so much fun. I mean, you know, it wasn't perfect. Like there were many problems with the original Assassin's Creed, but I really loved that loop. And Assassin's Creed 2, what I thought it was doing was improving on that loop, and I really, really liked Assassin's Creed 2. But the end result is that moving to Assassin's Creed 2 and then, you know, moving on and on, it was just getting further and further away from that. And it's just kind of a bummer because I really love that, and I did love Ezio. Ezio was the other wonderful Assassin's
He's
Creed
such a
character.
great character.
Oh, he's the
like,
best.
It really
Like there really are multiple factions because like I've seen so many people making like equally like passionate statements for like going back to the older style of gameplay, focusing more on the Assassins and Templars, and then people just being like, why don't they just drop that stuff entirely? Like it's really interesting to kind of see how much of a just straight polarizing divide there is in that fan base right now.
Which is funny because it makes me think that they could continue doing the thing they're doing right now. Like they can keep making just these big open world like action RPGs set in different
and then do like a smaller
periods,
scale
and
stealth
then
game or something.
Do and just do like an actual like Assassin's Creed assassin game, like more in the vein of the first couple games. Like,
I think that like comes down to like an apprehension from Ubisoft to commit to like what those games are supposed to be, right? Like, and like, and I'll shut the fuck up here in a second, but like,
No.
Ubisoft has had this reluctance to like lean into like what stealth was as a genre, right? Like Ubisoft's big stealth thing before Assassin's Creed was Splinter Cell, and they have not come back to Splinter Cell, and that's okay. And Ghost Recon.
It's not okay, Zach.
It's not.
It
okay.
is not okay. They have
When I
not
say
gone.
it's okay,
They have
it's
gone
not
back
okay.
to.
But what I mean is like Ghost Recon Wildlands and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, like they both have these like little hints of stealth, and they allow for it. But like the original Assassin's Creed was like very much like ancient Splinter Cell. Like you're using the same tactics of like collecting information and moving along upper pipelines, and it's an environmental puzzle to figure out who you can take out when in order to maintain a stealthful presence. And like that shit is gone for basically a Witcher like formula, which is still good but is not the same thing as it once was. And if you look at like how Far Cry has become much more action oriented, like Ubisoft has a homogenization of the content they produce to be very action adventure, somewhat RPG elements, always a skill tree. It's
always a thing you can do where you can sense things around you every time.
Oh, of course. No, of course. There's always a fucking bird who can just see shit around you. Yeah. No, I mean, and I like Assassin's. I like Ubisoft games, but I think what we're sensing here is like a frustration around them doing pretty good, but not quite enough, and also like lacking the identity and the statement that we want to see, right? Like it feels like they tiptoe up to the edge of saying something and then they don't fucking do it. And
or they do say something and then you ask them about the thing they said in an interview and they're like, no, we weren't actually saying it.
Yeah.
It's up to interpretation. It's whatever you want it to mean. No, it's not. You said a thing.
Yeah.
Do we think when Skull and Bones actually becomes a thing that exists? So when I played that at E3 2017,
Wow.
when I played the demo of that, it was literally just the boat mechanics from Black Flag. That is what that game was. There was nothing.
Which sounds
going on
awesome,
there.
by the way.
Yeah, it does. Do we think that but I mean, the thing is, people just like, okay, just make another Black Flag. Like don't just make a whole game with just those mechanics.
Yeah.
But do we think that when that game eventually like happens, do we think that it's going to kind of get the same treatment, right? Like, is it going to come out and be like, oh, it's basically just another Black Flag? Like, it's a big action, open world RPG with like, a protagonist with a problem and then like boats.
By the way, I just want to point out,
Wasn't it like a pseudo MMO or something?
No, they were positioning it almost like Siege with boats. Like each boat
Yeah.
had unique abilities. It was like a very heavy PvP.
5-on-5.
like
It was
esports
5-on-5
type.
PvP, but also had a single player campaign. So,
I just want to point out real quick, Zach.
Yeah.
Protagonist with a Problem is an amazing name for your indie band. So if you've got a band and you need a name, that's up for grabs.
So what I've heard about Assassin's Creed, I'm sorry, wow, that's not good. What I've heard about Skull and Bones is that it is very much still a studio. The Singapore Ubisoft studio is still focusing on it. But there are other studios who, I mean, like we're seeing with Assassin's Creed, a lot of studios end up lending hands here and there, and so that game is still very much in development, and they have just as many people working on it. They've just split up the teams and the way they're doing it. And it's the same thing with Assassin's Creed, which is like, okay, but when you have a lot of hands reaching into that same creative pot, what does the end product look like? And it's homogenized. So I think that, yes, inevitably, whenever we see Skull and Bones, it will be like, cool, so this is just a shinier Black Flag. And, like,
Yeah.
like that's what that's going to be. And the thing
And it'll be great.
And the thing
No,
is, it'll be like an 85 to 92 on Metacritic. Like, that's the thing. It'll
Yeah,
be
Do
fine.
you think we'll see it next week?
Fuck no.
No.
At the
Are you
Xbox
kidding me?
showcase?
No.
So,
That game's not coming
John,
out till 2022 at the earliest.
Ubi is like that game's not, that and Beyond Good and Evil 2. They every single time they have a financial call, they're like, it's not coming anytime
But
soon.
I think there was enough information. The creative director left, and basically you can assume that the whole game was rebooted
Probably.
in the last 2 years.
So like, listen, we're talking about next week. Unless anybody has anything else on Assassin's Creed, I think we can.
I don't.
I think we can just talk about. So let's set the stage. So
Okay,
Xbox,
set the stage.
So
Set the table.
Xbox and Sony have both been kind of in a standoff. Justin and I have been kind of people who've been following. Justin and I, and also Sam Toll from Windows Central, have been covering a lot of next gen news for SDGC. Sony and Microsoft have been in a standoff pretty much since the Game Awards in December of who's going to show what and when for next gen. Finally, Microsoft is saying a lot more. They've been saying a little bit, but they're finally like, okay, we're ready to show games next week. After they announced that, Aaron Greenberg, their marketing lead, said, actually, this event next week is going to be focusing on third-party games only, not first-party. So we are expecting things like Ubisoft and potentially EA and potentially CD Projekt Red. And so I guess I wanted to feel beyond Assassin's Creed, which is confirmed. What do we think we're going to see from Xbox? Xbox hosting. And also... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, you cut off. I thought you were done.
You're fine. All I'm going to say is that these games, because they're third party, you can expect them to be on PS4 and PS5 and Xbox One, which means my personal opinion is that this is going to be a cool show for everybody.
There was a very funny. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling up in the chat to find it again. There was a very funny headline earlier today from
Push Square.
The Push Square.
The Push Square headline was third-party PS5 games to debut gameplay at Xbox Series X next week, which is like funny as shit just because it's accurate. Like
yeah, and it's curious, right? Because like it's twofold. One, for people like us, it seems like a mistake because it's like, so why would you want someone's first impressions of what your Xbox Series X can do be something that can look like, it'll probably like the best console version of Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be on the Xbox, but it will only look slightly better than the PS5 version. So, like, why would you do that? But the other thing is, like, to a casual consumer who just sees the Xbox splash screen, they're going to think that game is exclusive. Because that's how marketing deals work. To a casual audience, they don't understand what that is. It's weird. It's weird to lead with just third party. But what do we expect? I mean, obviously, Microsoft has had a partnership with CD Projekt Red. Are we expecting more Cyberpunk next week?
I've got a hot prediction.
Okay.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, probably.
From Software's game. That's from Software's game.
Hold on. When did that get shown?
At Microsoft.
It was announced at an Xbox conference.
Okay.
Was it Xbox last year?
Yeah,
Was it
they showed
Xbox?
it at Xbox last year, and they also Xbox showed Sekiro and Dark Souls 3.
I think
I agree with that prediction.
I think Elden Ring. I think it's time. I think Elden Ring shows up next week for sure.
Yeah,
I got a
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Do we think, Jeff? Do you think that's a launch title? I mean, I feel like From Software,
No.
From Software sells well, but I think they know better enough to launch in a launch.
Not for a
title.
launch title.
No, I got a prediction. I think we might see a Bethesda game there.
Huh? I like that.
Skyrim.
You know,
I think
Skyrim with smart delivery. Skyrim and Fallout 76 optimized for Xbox Series X.
Honestly, though,
Actually, I bet we do see quite a few game you already know optimized for Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
I bet that is
Google Stadia on Xbox Series X.
okay, but in all seriousness, to Justin and Jeff's point, like I think that we do see Bethesda there. One, because Bethesda has said, hey, we aren't going to be showing, we're not having our own event this year. We're going to be showing some other stuff at other times, but it's going to be spread out. I think it's 100% plausible we see them next week. But we will probably just be seeing, one, potentially ports, but also maybe Stargate?
Starfield. That's what I was thinking. I mean,
I know.
how long's it been since Fallout 4?
Yeah, no. There was a
in
rumor
college
going
for
around.
last time, so.
We're not seeing Starfield till 2024.
No.
Oh yeah, no, dude. At the rate they crank out
we see
games-
Starfield before then. We're not seeing the next
put out
Elder
games-
Scrolls till
They put
2024.
out games every 4 or 5 years historically, and it's been almost 5 years since Fallout 4.
Yeah.
You know, in the chat, Resident Evil something would be
No,
interesting.
Sony.
Resident Evil
It'll
8.
be Sony.
You think
It's
so?
all
Sony's done all of the Resident
that's
Evil.
That's why I went with Bethesda,
stuff.
because I think they've had a
Yeah,
marketing.
Bethesda is a good choice. I think we. Oh, go ahead,
No,
Grab.
you go.
So yeah, Assassin's Creed would be cool to see. I think Elden Ring would be cool. I think maybe we get a glimpse at Cyberpunk. Maybe not like a big blowout, but like, hey, here it is running, like a trailer cut on Series X or something.
Yes.
I think we might also get like a sizzle reel of games that are getting smart delivery upgrades
For sure.
something like Doom Eternal running like nightmare settings, possibly at 120 FPS. Like,
because it's like a bullshit marketing term, I just want to really quickly say, Smart delivery is Microsoft's term
Oh,
for if you bought it on Xbox Series X, or I'm sorry, if you bought it on
Xbox One,
your port will be upgraded to the shiniest, best performing version on your next gen console. But it is up to the publisher and developer to opt into that. So if Activision, not that Activision has a track record, if Activision was like, I don't care that you bought Modern Warfare on the Xbox One, I want you to pay again, they have every right to do that. But they also are allowed to just be like, we're going to honor your license and here's this free upgrade. So far only CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk and Ubisoft have confirmed that they're going to be doing it. Ubisoft outright confirmed it for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but they also in their calls have talked about how they're updating stuff like Rainbow Six Siege and some of their other service games, and how they will be updating those for everybody, which is cool. Yeah.
I just saw somebody in chat say, I'm hoping for some Beyond Good and Evil 2. Keep hoping.
No.
Keep on hoping.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so my thing about CD Projekt Red is I want to see more Cyberpunk because we haven't seen that much gameplay from there. Obviously,
that's why I think we see like a quick sizzle reel kind of thing.
Yeah, but I'm also skeptical because when they had that conference about a month ago now, I think it was a financial report. They were like, yeah, we are planning to have versions for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and yes, we will be taking care of smart delivery, but we cannot guarantee, or I think they said outright, we will not have day-and-date support for next-gen consoles.
Okay.
So
which is not surprising.
But if you...
I thought they had only said that about PS5, which kind of
they were
had
being
some...
intentionally vague. But, I mean, honestly, there are things you can build into your games, such as unlocked frame rate and dynamic resolution toggles, which would allow you to automatically, without very much developer input, allow your game to scale up to the next gen console. So they could build that into it.
So here's one. I'm gonna make a spicy prediction.
All right, and then Red, but I want to make a prediction first.
We see the Crysis remaster, and they introduce it with, but can it run Crysis? And then they show the remaster.
I would absolutely hate that.
I want it so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it, but sure. Yeah. Okay, Red.
I predict that we're going to see at least 2 sports games.
For sure.
Okay, now, but
Madden and probably EA.
I want all of your perspectives, but I also want Reb on this. Because I've been thinking about this, right? So we're in a weird position for sports in the fall.
Yeah.
You know, they're either not happening.
Yes.
By
many definitions of that sentence.
They're either not happening or they are happening in stadiums with empty stands.
Yes.
So there's 2 scenarios. 1, these games don't sell at all because they're bizarre and it's strange. Or 2, they sell way better than usual because people are like, fuck, I really miss watching the Lions get the shit kicked out of them all the time. Every Sunday, like I am. How the fuck do you position a sport game to be exciting next week? Because I feel like you can't. I feel like you can't.
I think people that are starved for sports stuff might be really excited about a sports game still releasing. Like, if Madden is still coming out, but like football isn't happening, like then Madden becomes a bigger football event.
Sure.
There have also been this is racing, but they're also like NASCAR is doing all of its stuff in iRacing and I didn't fully read the story today, so I'm just like remembering very vaguely, but I think there was like some tennis championship somewhere that was doing it full, like just having a tournament with its actual players in like a tennis game or something. I do not remember what this was. It's funny because like racing, the skills actually do translate, but in every other sports game, they just absolutely do not.
Yeah, because it's the same simulator that they use to train for NASCAR. So
but
they just
nothing else translates. It's really funny. But I do think that there's like a possibility for like cross promotion, right, between like the sports teams because they're like not fucking doing anything else right now, so just like get them in there and like have them find some way to sort of promote those games.
And I guess
Madden tournament on Mixer with a bunch of NFL athletes.
I mean, it'd be great.
Yeah, no, it probably would.
No, it popped in my head and it was like half a joke thing, but like that seems like something that would be great to do.
So this is
Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
All I was gonna say is like one of Microsoft's big selling points here is that like the Xbox Series X has the ability to scale up to 120 frames per second, And like, if we're already hitting 4K 60 on current gen consoles for sport games, I can totally see them wanting to show a third-party sport game that can like potentially have 120
Show
FPS
the
mode.
sweat glistening.
Yeah, you want to see that sweat fall at 120.
Ray
Individual,
traced
like,
sweat
little dots on the
reflection.
football.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
like, whatever. I don't know what footballs are made out of. What? I don't
Pigskin,
know.
baby.
Pigskin.
The
Pigskin.
individual pigs on the skin of the football.
Yeah.
You can
So-
see it.
You can see the sadness in its eyes before it got turned into a football.
Jesus, that got dark real
Okay,
fast.
Okay, wait.
I've got one more prediction for next week. And it's probably wrong, but whatever, I'll throw it out there. NetherRealm Studios will be there in some form. Either with less likely Mortal Kombat. I think we're going to get a new DC fighting game.
I feel like it's too soon though, right?
New Injustice.
I feel like they do.
I mean, Injustice launched what, 3 years ago? 2 years
but
ago?
They just launched
Or Mortal Kombat Enhanced for Series X
Yeah.
and some
I
new
mean,
DLC character or something.
I think WB will be there in some capacity,
What
and
does
I
WB
think
even make? I'm so tired. I don't know what they
Batman.
do. Batman.
Batman.
What? Hey, what if
WB's been very quiet for a
What if-
very long
They did
time.
like a tweet where they're like, "We're doing a Batman."
That
and
was in
everyone like,
September.
what?
Reb,
And
I'm
then-
not joking. That was in September. I wish I was kidding.
That was 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
There was
what if we
no
see-
follow-up to that.
What if we see either that long rumored Arkham game or the Harry Potter game that leaked?
Oh, from Avalanche? Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Maybe.
I feel like they might kind of spread those out between the two.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Platform holders,
I'm
because,
saying
like-
it's gonna be one or the other.
Yeah.
When do we do for Hitman again? When's that happening?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually.
Two's still being updated, isn't it?
No,
Is
I
it?
think
I don't
they just
Oh, okay.
announced that they were like, okay, we're done with new content for Hitman 2, which is understandable, but also Hitman, as far as I know, IO Interactive was in a deal with WB, but they are not owned by WB anymore, which means that like, because there were rumors last year in which Microsoft was in talks with IO Interactive for, and I think those have fallen through because it's been a long time since I've heard anything about that. But like, it's been a while since we've heard from Hitman, but I also don't expect WB to be partnering with them again because Hitman 2 flopped just as hard, if not worse, than the first Hitman.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Well, what about
It's-
Square Enix? What about Square Enix in general? Do we think they're going to show up?
No,
Not at Xbox.
No. I mean, Microsoft.
Final Fantasy 16 time, baby. Let's roll.
I do think there's potential. So Microsoft, for a long time, Phil Spencer has publicly said that like he's really interested in courting a Japanese studio to come under their helm.
for a while.
Granted, they're third party centric, so I kind of don't see that happening at this show. But you know, it would be interesting.
It's not going to happen at this show, but
No.
I bet we get some kind of announcement in the next year.
Yeah.
Probably in the next like 4 or 5 months or so. that they
Hell,
have
probably
acquired.
before launch because they want to show that JRPGs are actually going to be on that platform for once.
Yeah.
What about-
I
about-
don't think Square Enix is the thing they pick up either.
What
I don't
about
know
more
what-
Avengers? Do you think we'll get
Avengers
more
is
RPG?
partnered with
I don't know
Sony.
about Avengers.
Are they partnered with
Xbox
Sony?
is not
Okay.
my conference.
Avengers is partnered with
alright.
Sony. There's some exclusive content on PS4 and stuff. I think we definitely see Avengers at an eventual PS5
Probably,
thing.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
But not at Xbox.
So to kind of wrap it up, it feels like we're obviously Assassin's Creed, probably Cyberpunk, probably something from EA, a sports title.
Yeah, Zach. Sorry, I want to pause you. I
No,
know you're
I'm
going
trying
through a
to
list. Can I out our recent DM about EA?
Yes.
Is that kosher to talk
Yeah,
about?
that's
So
fine.
Zach
Yes.
and I have been having a conversation lately about like what EA is up to. And Zach has astutely noticed that EA has announced a couple times in the last couple weeks that they are winding down updates on, what do we say,
Battlefield 5
Battlefield
and Star Wars
2 and
Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 5. I gotta get it right. They've basically said this next content update is gonna be the last. Like they're still gonna keep the servers up, but the next content updates are doing the last ones. And so we kind of had a conversation. It sounds like they are basically gearing up for another big live service thing that is kind of outside the usual remit. And if you look at kind of their financial calls, I'm like spitballing on the headline because I'm tired and I can't remember anything. But they said that they were going to come out with, I think they said 14 new games in 2020. Now they said this like before COVID-19 fucked the world
Yeah.
up. So presumably that might no longer be an accurate statement. But like some of those were like sports titles, and they were talking about like bringing in, like some of their old IP, right? Like they were talking about Command and Conquer. They were talking about, some of their other things. And so I'd have to pull up that article and like read it again to remember the things that were kind of on the docket. Some of those are EA originals, right? Like some of those are indies. But it does seem like they have some kind of like new live service thing planned along those general lines that they might be announcing soon.
Sure. Justin, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so today they did say, at least in regards to DICE with the live services winding down, that DICE is focusing all in on the next Battlefield for next-gen consoles next fall.
Which is
Okay, well that answers it then.
But,
Yeah, which I think is very necessary. Battlefront 2 had an amazing turnaround and was supported very well. On the complete other hand, Battlefield 5 live service was, I think, the worst I've ever seen.
I've heard other people say that
and
too. Yeah.
really, and I was a huge Battlefield fan, and the support that Battlefield 5 got really soured me on that game and that franchise. So I think they're all hands on deck to actually get the next game together.
And I want to throw one final blanket for anybody who wants to make a last minute prediction for Xbox. So the last thing I'll say in regards to DICE is that these things are new. The plans to wrap up Battlefield 5 and Battlefront 2 based on comments from current and former employees at DICE suggest that these things were not part of the plan. Yesterday, a community...
They sound like abrupt decisions.
Yesterday, the community manager for Battlefront 2 said, everyone who makes this game loves making this game. We watch the new shows together. We watch the movies together. We have premieres together. We go to the movie. We do all these things together. And we wanted to keep making this stuff for this game because we wanted to. And if we can't bring you more content, don't think it's because we didn't feel like we wanted to. It was because we were told we can't, was basically what he implied. And then the former multiplayer producer, who has since left DICE, said, when we launched our Pacific update in December, it was meant to be the start of our turnaround for the game. That was the intent. It is not being followed through on. So it seems like something is... And granted, since those things have happened... EA has said that, hey, DICE, your LA studio is now not your support studio anymore. They're going to be working with Vince Zampella, but EA seems like, maybe COVID is a good opportunity to reshuffle your deck and, start placing new bets rather than, letting it ride. But it's weird. Listen, okay, we got to wrap up because we're almost at time here.
Sorry, my final prediction is
fine.
that
It's me.
everything that we have just listed now, we've listed a lot of big things. My actual prediction for this thing is it is an inside Xbox event. It's like, an hour long? Something like that?
Who knows?
I guarantee you that 45 minutes, this inside Xbox is not going to be gameplay trailers. It's going to be other things of some sort. And then there's going to be 15 minutes of stuff or whatever, and it's going to be far fewer exciting things than we think it's going to be.
I mean,
Probably.
there was even a tweet from Aaron Greenberg that kind of made it sound like, hey, the big blowout you guys are waiting for isn't next week. It's a little bit later.
And if people who know Aaron Greenberg, if Aaron Greenberg is downplaying, you should set your expectations low.
Ubisoft Assassin's Creed is going to be the big game.
Yeah.
That is going to be the big show. There's
I
gonna
don't.
be a few other things.
We're not seeing. But it seems pretty clear we're not seeing Halo Infinite.
No.
We're
No.
not
No.
seeing big exclusive games made just for next gen. We're gonna see Xbox Series X versions of cross-gen games coming out this fall.
Yeah, so temper your expectations. Anyway, sorry, that was my...
No, that's it. Jeff, I feel like I feel personally responsible. Jeff, is there anything you haven't said about what you think we might see next week?
No, I'm more interested in the first party stuff, which sounds like we'll come till later, because I really want to see Forza Tactics.
Forza.
Yeah.
Forza Tactics is gonna be sick.
Yeah.
I know that's coming.
One last piece of spice. Don't expect a Forza at launch time. Don't expect
I would agree with you. Yep.
Really? Because they even took last year off.
They took last year.
Yeah.
Boo, I love Forza. Boo.
I'm fine with that if they need to
I
retool
like
it.
Forza, but turns out it's very hard to launch a Halo game on time, and sometimes you need to ask your friends at different studios to come help you wrap up. And I wish that was a joke, but that's what is supposedly happening.
So is Master Chief gonna be riding like a?
He's gonna be riding.
He's gonna come in hot on a fucking Mustang.
Those warthogs are gonna handle so good.
I want to see the sweat. I want to see the sweat rolling down those hogs as they race around the track.
We're way off topic. We all have a little bit more information than we should about. And margaritas actually not talk about Halo. So, John, please take us home.
All right, I'll take us home. Just a few quick housekeeping items. Don't forget, If you're not in the Discord, we do have a Discord with a bunch of people and a lot of channels.
Just be fucking cool if you come, okay? Don't.
Yeah, just be cool.
Don't fuck around.
Be
Come
cool.
on.
Don't come in there with any bullshit. Just we like it. It's a nice positive place where people can talk about games or movies or life or television or just anything they want to talk about, as long as you keep it positive and as long as you are respectful to other people. That includes yourself. Also, a few things coming up this weekend. Saturday night we have community game night. I haven't decided what game we're going to do yet, but I think I'm going to move away from Nintendo maybe and try something that's free to play that a bunch of people can get down on.
Fortnite.
What's that?
No, nothing. Didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you said something. And Sunday night, it looks like we're doing a Jackbox stream. Time as to be determined, but we're going to do a Jackbox stream on Sunday night. I'm very much looking forward to that. Trials of Mana review dropping this weekend. If you have not checked out Zach's review for Gears Tactics, that is on the YouTube channel and all the podcast services for you to listen to, as well as myself, Jeff, and Reb talking about our feelings on Animal Crossing a month later. That was a really fun conversation, and that is also on all the podcast services. Does anybody have anything else that they want to say before we sign off here?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll take that as a no. Just remember, there's a lot going on right now, and I know things are really difficult, and some of you may be going through feelings of anxiety and depression because of all the social isolation we're being forced to do. But just remember that this is for everybody's good, not just yours. And by staying at home and keeping yourself healthy, you're doing the right thing. And if you need to talk to somebody, please reach out. You've got somebody who cares about you. I know you do. Reach out to them. Talk to them. Just tell people how you're doing and encourage them to do the same. We all have to look out for each other, right? So do what you can to take care of each other, please, because you all matter a great deal to us. And we just want you to be okay. We want everybody to be okay. And with that, it's not always poetry.
It's
we
not
don't
always
agree.
poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real.
Oh God! Cut the podcast power.